tell me what day it is.
That's what Mark
I
said.
think they're ready for
Mark said you
you.
can see these.
Ready to roll? Yes, sir. Good morning. It's February 2nd, 2016, it's February 9th, 2016. We'll call the Wright County Board meeting to order. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, now back to February 2nd, 2016, the minutes.
Mr. Chair, I'd make a motion we approve the minutes.
And I will second that.
Motion by Commissioner Burrell, second by Commissioner Houston. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carries unanimous. The agenda. Lee, I think you had something to add.
Yes, Mr. Chair, if I could add, as an item for consideration late in the meeting, I would like to have a closed session to discuss the pending litigation that is with the Office of the State Auditor.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I'm just here to support that request. If I think it would work best if we did it at the very tail end of the meeting, and we could move to the other room and then come back and adjourn the meeting from here, I think, so.
Okay. For the benefit of the listening public, do you want to give a 30-second overview?
Wright County, Becker County, and Ramsey County have been named in a lawsuit brought by the Office of State Auditor, Rebecca Otto, the current state auditor. And it has to do with legislation that was passed in 2015 that allows counties to opt out and use private audit firms for their annual audit. In the past, Wright County has used a private audit firm for a number of years, and we were released. Basically, the choice was that of the state auditor, and the law changes it so that the choice would be given to the counties to opt out. And she disagrees with the new law, so there are some legal questions about whether or not the legislature has the power to take that type of thing away from her. She says the legislature is impinging on her constitutional duties. So we're just trying at this point to figure out how we're going to defend that lawsuit. And there are, I should mention that there are, I've heard 50 counties that are kind of in the same boat with us, who were not, many of whom were not named as parties, but that's basically what we're dealing with.
It's curious to find out why we're being named. Mr. Chair, if I could extend this 30 seconds just a little bit. Is there any rationale? Have you heard anything why 3 counties have been singled out? It's like...
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Burrell, I've talked to the Becker County attorney and John Kelly, who's the first assistant in Ramsey County, and we're all scratching our heads.
Okay. All right.
Well, for what it's worth, I tried calling Miss Otto this morning as well as her communication director, and they must be both sleeping in because neither of them were at work this morning, so I couldn't find that answer out. So we want to put this, I don't know if we call this 7.5 or if we change it to 8, move everything down to 9, 10. How do you usually do that, Susan, if you want to add something right after advisory committees?
I would probably add it as item 8.
Okay, this will be item 8, and then adjournment will be 9, and claims listing will be 10. Anything else to add to the agenda? If not, is there a motion to approve the agenda with the one addition?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Potter, second by Commissioner Dwyden. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimous. The consent agenda. Any items to remove for further discussion?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to remove the temporary liquor license for Maple Lake. This is a nice fishing contest. We received a notice that they are canceling the event.
Okay, so you don't want to act on it then?
Correct. For only the second time in 41 years, they're canceling that, so
Okay.
that's due to the thin ice.
We probably should have just removed that when we did the agenda, but I guess that was an oversight up here, because I guess we kind of all knew that was. But we won't act on B. We'll just take that off and just not act on it then. And
I'll make a motion to approve consent agenda with item B removed.
I will second that.
motion by Delight, second by Houston. Did they pay a fee? They'll get reimbursed for then, or how does that work?
because I'll follow up with Jackie. I believe we have their checks. I'm not sure that we can cash them. So if we haven't cashed them, we'll send the checks back. to them.
Okay,
If we have cashed them, we'll work with the appropriate state agency and decide how to refund them the money.
okay. What kind of money is it? Is it a significant amount or is it a minimal amount?
It's a minimal amount, was it $250 around?
Okay, well, that's more significant. For us, that's real money.
Sounds like a lot to me.
So whatever it is, board, we won't make, Wright County will make money on this event.
Okay, thank you.
Third auditor's dealing with some big numbers apparently.
Yeah. Board, we just got the bond proceeds from the jail, so I'm sorry. My perspective, it's a little.
From the jail or the new Public Works building? Okay. Okay, I think we had a motion and a second to approve the agenda with the exception of B, correct?
Yep, correct.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Hold same sign. Motion carries unanimous. Thanks, Bob. Did you have the claims to be signed?
I put it up there.
Oh, there they are, right there, okay. There we go, thank you. It's after 9:05, County Assessor Tony Rasmussen, good morning. And you bring a new employee with you today.
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, Commissioners, I just wanted to introduce you to the newest addition to our staff. Tricia Gruber will be working as an office tech, and speaking for our team, we couldn't be happier to have her on board.
That seems like a familiar
Yeah.
county name. Is it?
Big Lake name to me.
No relation.
No relation?
Relation.
Okay. Is it spelled the
Oh,
same?
yeah, they've got the ones in
It is
Montreal,
spelled
but
the
there's
same.
a lot of them in Big Lake, too.
Okay.
Well, welcome, Tricia, where are you from?
Thank you. I grew up in Loretto,
Okay.
currently live between Buffalo and Rockford Township.
Okay.
My
Oh,
district.
we finally got one.
Finally got one.
We made that a
Charlie's been hogging all the employees lately.
Very good.
Welcome aboard.
Yeah,
Welcome
welcome.
aboard.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Everything goes well, yeah.
Mark?
Oh, congratulations for finally working for the Wright County. Because I have to say those sort of things.
Karen, good morning, Karen. We have Karen Punsack from the Great River Regional Library with us, and she's got some other GRR people with her as well.
Right, good morning. Thank you for your time this morning, County Commissioners. I have with me today Library Services Coordinator Sheila Reike from Cokato and Library Services Coordinator Deb Cox-Johnson from Howard Lake. And we're here to give you a little report of activity of Great River Regional Library Service in Wright County for 2015. In your packets, you'll see an outline of our new strategic plan. We created some core values around patron focus, and this set of core values was actually developed by a subcommittee of staff. So you can see we are going to be using these core values, exceptional service, forward thinking, and community focus to drive our decision making going forward. And then on the back side, you can see where our strategic areas of focus will be. So service priorities will continue to be literacy, access, and lifelong learning. And our organizational priorities will be exceptional service, operational excellence, and community focus. So from the community sessions that many of you attended last year, we developed these as our priorities, and many of the goals and objectives will be fitting directly under these. One of the major initiatives we'll be taking on this year is developing local action plans for each library to focus on a group of users a group of people who are not currently using the library in each community. So that's one of the biggest initiatives happening this year. We'll also be launching a revitalized library catalog, which will be an easier to use discovery interface that will allow you to do faceted searching, and redesigning the website. Most of the people who use our libraries also use our website, and that was one of the findings we found in our survey last year.
I had a question, Mr. Chair. Is this, Sheila, is this as a result of some of the meetings, the kind of focus groups that you had throughout the year last year and stuff?
That's correct.
'Cause
Last
I
year.
made it to the one in Cokato.
Yep, you're in
and-
Cokato. You were baling hay that day, if I remember right.
Is that right? I can't remember that. I know I came a little late.
And we hosted 12 community sessions around the region last summer. And we also conducted a user, non-user survey that was responded to by over 800 people around the region. And some of the things that we found that were interesting from that were almost 80% of the people coming through the doors also use the website, so we really feel like we need to invest some energy in updating that and making it more user-friendly. And also, most of the people coming through the doors still use physical books as our main core service. So while the popular conception is that books are going away, it is something that Central Minnesota still uses on a regular basis and finds that one of the reasons why they come through the door of our libraries. And in the packet, we also have the library activity report from last year. This shows an overview of the entire region. Some areas were down, some areas were up. Physical books are rotating a little bit less than had been done previously, but we're seeing a major increase in things like wireless usage and use of the digital library. So you can kind of see there's a lot of reasons people come and use our library services, and they're all very well used, even if some of the usage is declining. And in the back, we have two initiatives that we wanted to highlight last year that reached a lot of people. One was the We Play Here Hit kits, which were actually provided through a grant from the State Library Services. And we developed these kits around the focus of early literacy and play, because play is actually something that kids need to do, unstructured play, in order to develop the skills they need to learn, because you learn storytelling and things, other skills like that. So it gives you some of the detail around that, and then Deb can tell you a little bit more about what happened after we received the grant and implemented those kits around the region.
We had some fun. The HLWW, Howard Lake Waverly Winstead, ECFE coordinator called me and said, we would like to host an event with you at your library, and if we can do this, we have some grant money that we would like to give to you, and so that we don't know how to spend. And so we said, yes, we would be delighted to do that. And we had a really fun event. We had a couple of Wright County departments here, the family nutritionist and the seatbelt safety person, and we had a dentist and a St. James School and Rick and a couple more that I'm not remembering right now. And the library had a table, and we displayed We Play Here, which was really fun. And the other big thing we like to talk about these days is 1,000 books before kindergarten. And we have had a dramatic response to that. We've loved it. I thought we would have 30 participants this year, and as of January 1st, we had something like 42 or 43. So they're not always coming back so very often, but I think just implanting the idea that reading early is really important, and it has to be a parent and kid thing is good for us. So we received the grant, and in talking with the St. Cloud librarians about what would be a good use, we could always buy books. We have books, we could always buy more books, we could always make them live at Howard Lake longer. But we wanted to do something special with that money because not everybody gives us that kind of money every day. And we had been one of the first hosts for the first We Play Here kit, and that was very well received, but there were some complex elements in it that didn't lend themselves to a quick library visit. And so I suggested that we have We Play at Home kits that where parents would have a little bit more time to do some of the more complex activities. So they're almost completed. They will be check-outable at the library. They can rotate to other libraries, but they have Howard Lake listed as their home location, so they'll come back. And we'll plan some special events with early childhood when we have them in and we have them ready, and I'll probably go there. We'll probably host the parents here, but it's been really fun, I mean, to have that opportunity. Thanks.
So as you can see, a small idea around early literacy developed into a grant, which developed into additional donations. And those are the types of opportunities we're looking to expand through our community focus initiatives going forward this year. Some specific to Wright County statistics, in your packet, we've got those highlighted in the PowerPoint presentation. About a quarter of the people in Wright County have an active library card, and of those, you can assume that at least one or two other people in that household are actually using the card as well. So we're looking to expand our borrower numbers over the next year, and we're hoping that these library action plans will help us to do that. And you can see the names of the libraries that actually have physical locations, but everyone in Wright County has the ability to get a free library card and get the services online, even if they can't get into the library itself. We had over 349,000 people actually come through our doors last year in just Wright County alone. And about half of those people check out a book. So those checkout sessions, 148,730, that's the count of one use of a library card per day. So even if someone came in 5 times that day, they'd only get counted as one. So you can see about half the people coming through the doors aren't necessarily checking out books, although that continues to be a core service.
Karen, can I ask, 'cause
Sure.
that's a pretty specific number, 349, 336. What means do you use to do that? I'm not aware of anybody
It's
taking a tally at the front door. So how do
Right.
you-
We use a statistical tabulation. That's the measure we use when we report that activity in our state library report. It's the same measure that is used nationally. So what we do once a week each year, we count every person who comes through the door,
Okay,
and then
so
we
once a week
multiply
you're
that
doing
times
that.
52.
Okay.
Yeah, it's 1 week. We are looking at trying to create a more live number, and we added door counters to every library last year, but what we're learning is each building's so unique that those door counters don't behave consistently from one building to the next. So we're still trying to figure out how to get that to be a more precise number, but it is an estimate.
Okay. And that's a good answer. I was wondering how you came up with it, and that's a reasonable explanation.
I just wanted to add that as a manager, I'm really aware that the door count weeks comes in one of the very quietest weeks of the year, which is the first week of October, and kids are still involved in after school. They haven't started to pour in. So that number could well be low by 50% easily.
We pick a typical week year. We don't pick the first week of summer reading program or the last week in December where things are pretty quiet. So we try to pick that typical week, and it's been the same week every year for the last 5-10 years. So it is a comparative number. You can see internet and wireless use is still a pretty heavily used service. I think in communities like Annandale, that's even more heavily used because the broadband capability of getting it in the home is so much lower. I've learned a lot about broadband in the last year, and it is so inconsistent around the state. The one thing we always have at the library is high-speed internet, and that's something a lot of people come to take advantage of. You can see in the next slide an overview of the collection and the usage. Our collection is still valued at over $17 million, almost 1 million items that are accessible across the system, and those are located in the 32 libraries across the 6 counties. And just in Wright County alone, about $16 million, so almost $17 million were checked out last year, so almost everything we owned statistically checked out in this county alone. And on the bottom, you can see the pie chart. Our digital usage has increased for the digital library. Last year, I think it was up like 19% overall for the region, but you can still see it's a very small slice of the overall collection pie. Most of the things that we're lending are physical items. And then some of the local databases that Great River actually subscribes to are listed on the side. Pronunciator offers 82 languages, and some of those actually have the ability now that you could live chat with somebody who speaks the language. That's a new offering this year from that database. RefUSA is a business index, so if you're looking to start a business, it helps give that types of information. Ancestry.com, if you're into genealogy, is offered in the library itself, so you don't have to create your own subscription. And then Lynda.com is a whole suite of tutorials. A lot of industries will actually subscribe to these as training for their employees. So there's things like project management, how to use Excel, a whole wide range of different things that are available with your library card. Program statistics are on the handout and on the spreadsheet here. This is actually just Wright County usage, and you can see over 4,400 kids actually came in and signed up for the summer reading program last year in the libraries here. And then some programs, Sheila will tell us a little more about, but just the programs offered here were attended by over 22,000 people in Wright County last year.
In speaking to programming, a lot of the programs that we get are provided to us through legacy programming. And if you see right here on the screen, Bill Jamerson, that particular program we hosted at the Cokato Manor, which is assisted living and nursing home. And by hosting it there, we were able to bring a legacy program to people that might not have come to the library to see a program. And it also gave us a chance to work with another community within Cokato so that maybe they go, oh, the library, great, didn't think about those guys having a program. So it kind of opened the door up to a lot of other opportunities for us. We've also gone ahead with the information technology, and at our library, specifically Cokato, we have a librarian from St. Cloud that comes down the first Thursday of every month. And because we have a routine schedule with her coming down to help people with their laptops or their Nooks or their Kindles, now we're starting to build like a reputation with this, so that we're having people come in knowing that she'll be there on Thursday nights to help them with their electronic devices, which is fantastic. We've also taken a legacy program to the community working with the Cokato Historical Society. We've brought programs into the school, and we've also done programming at the Cokato Corn Carnival. Again, just to take that legacy funding and bring it to a broader range of people that everybody can enjoy those funds that we're getting.
And then one last example of one of the great services that we offered last year. Deb will tell you a little bit about a partnership with their senior center in Howard Lake. Are you ready?
This was an interesting experience and kind of a great one. I had a daughter of an assisted living person contact me and say, they need a book club. So I called the activity directors for both facilities and said, can we do this? Would you like us to do this? And she said, yes, and beyond that, we'd like you to be able to supply library materials. So just to make a long story short, we've organized that. I have a couple of volunteers who help me keep it on track, and they lead the book clubs. It's just really fun knowing that these people felt deprived of what they wanted and now are not deprived. So, thanks.
So as you can see, your libraries are being very well used for a wide variety of reasons, and we really appreciate the support we get from Wright County to offer those services. So thank you for your support. If you have any questions, we'd be happy to answer those today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair? Yeah, I do have one question. You're from Cokato and you're from Howard Lake. Why did you feel you had to stack the people from District 5?
They were the ones who volunteered today.
Oh, okay,
Something about
curious.
District 5.
I just thought maybe Charlie offered to donate an additional, really he should, since.
Just get over it. Anything else?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to just say that Karen and staff and everybody's doing a great job up there. People are happy with the system, because I've stopped in quite a few different libraries, and everybody in there seems to be happy. The early learning program, the children's book, I was up in Monticello about less than a month ago. The place was packed full of kids for that reading program they had there, and that was good to see. I mean, Monticello has actually got a space problem. They need more. That's a good thing to see. They'll have to address that with them up there, but I'm seeing a lot of usage. The numbers don't quite reflect what's going on there from last year, this year, but it is to me, in my opinion, core value, core service that's important to us and our people. Thank you.
Thank you.
Charlie?
Just one thing. One of the things that I know we were talking about at the group was, and Commissioner Swatsky had brought this up several times, and he used to be on the board, but the kiosks, is that something that you're still expanding as far as to get the books maybe in a grocery store, in a, where, especially in the towns where they don't have the physical library? Is it something that we're still looking into, or?
Yes, we actually, one of our strategic initiatives this year is finalizing what we've called the library assessment. It was a project that started about 2 years ago and kind of got tabled when we had a lot of personnel changes. One of the options we're looking at is developing a suite of alternative services that cities could subscribe to above and beyond their local library service. So the first part is defining what is base library service from county tax dollars, and then what's something that could be offered with local funding somehow. So donations, city funding, and what are things that are feasible. So one of those would be the idea of a holds locker system and book drop. Another one is the idea of a community library where we would drop in with a van and a small selection of books and check out materials.
And I said kiosk, I actually meant that locker system.
Well, it's similar. I mean, it's a vending
similar,
machine
yeah.
of sorts that, you know, and I think that, and I think from my own personal feeling on it is that the only thing you miss out there is the programming. So to me, if you can have a kiosk system with a community room nearby where you can come in and do programming from time to time, I think you can hit really the overwhelming what a lot of people need. And certainly some people do it differently. Some people come into the library and they need some assistance from the reference people to do stuff. But I can tell you from my own standpoint personally, if I get 10 items a year from the library, every one of those 10, went on the system at home, and I went and picked it up, and I could have picked it up at a kiosk as well. You know, so I think you can get a lot of people, and not necessarily that we want to replace the current libraries we have today that way, but as a way to expand services. And maybe into the future, some of the smaller libraries maybe can actually say, hey, you know what, this kiosk system that would be available 24/7 might be better service than only being able to get into the library during these 20 hours. So in some ways, you can enhance service, I think, with those sorts of
Well, let me
situations,
respond first. I think one of the things to keep in mind is people are looking for that personalized service in those locations. But we do continue to have a demand for people to add a library in communities that don't have them. And I think that's one of the best answers we can give is we may not be able to add another building, but this is something else.
I would agree with that statement as well. A kiosk, and if it's about the programming, then if they have a community space there available, they can still have programming without having, 24 or 30 hours of 2 or 3 staffing people there, because that's where the real expense comes in.
Right. And
Deb?
it also helps us shift the focus, because I think for a long time our staffing has been focused on moving books, and really what we need to be offering is library service. And what that needs to look like in the next 5 to 10 years will change, because we've got people who are using devices and don't know how. More and more people, their main access is their smartphone. And so having internet access on a smartphone limits your ability to actually access the full suite of what's out there on the internet.
I just wanted to say that in Howard Lake, I've just been looking at the demographics, and we are below the average income-wise in Wright County. That's what the statistics say. And both of those things are really great, but if we were going to, I would never suggest exchanging them, because a big important part of our library is people with either no computers or no knowledge of computers coming in for job hunting services. And I mean, those people have to be able to bump up their skills and look for their jobs, and it would be great if they could find those jobs in Howard Lake, but certainly they need to find them in Wright County. So we can't, it's a range, and I would hate to see our facility close for the sake of kiosks, because people know that we're open.
Well, I don't think, and we're not talking anything in the immediate future, we're just seeing what could be on the horizon.
I would think it'd be wonderful to add a kiosk session, and that would reduce staffing. But the computer use is something that people really need, computer and wireless.
But you could have 3 or 4 public computers next to a kiosk too. But I will say this, I can remember a half dozen, 10 years ago, going into the Monticello Library, and every single time those 6 computers were being used, and every single time there was a person standing behind the person using them, waiting for them to be complete, for their time to go. The last 2 times I was in the library, I made a special note to look over at those 6 computers, and each time there was 2 people and 4 vacant. So to suggest that the usage of public computers is anywhere near what it once was is not accurate. It is diminished greatly. I'm sure you've seen the same thing at St. Cloud with use of computers. You had to have, Karen.
Well, and I think one of the things that we're seeing with the statistics in particular is a big difference between bigger communities and smaller communities. And I think one of the challenges with library assessment is the smaller communities are the ones that are struggling more to maintain those facilities. So long-term, where do we go with developing long-term library services over the long term? But yes, in small.
I'd like to speak to that.
Sure.
As a small branch, Cokato can, some days we might not be really busy on the computers, but there'll be another time where I don't have enough computers at all for the people that are coming in, and they get turned away. They want to just come in and print something off, and I don't have computer time for them to do that. I only have 2 public computers. Then when you have the new tax system where everything is online, I've got a lot of people in my community that have never used the computer before that need to find out how to get these tax forms, and it's extremely frustrating and it's extremely time consuming to help them with this. And it kind of breaks my heart a little bit that we don't have enough technology for all the people in my community.
Okay, how many years have you been the Cokato librarian?
I've been there since like 2007, 2008.
Okay. Compare now to 2008, would you say there's less public computer usage now than in 2008?
I would say it's almost the same.
Okay, I think it's unusual then, but that's...
It kind of varies again throughout the year, but when we are short, we can really feel it. Yeah.
Because I can tell you, in our house, 7 or 8 years ago, we had one computer device where we could do things online, everything else. Now we probably have 6 or 7, and I might be missing 1 or 2 of them,
Right.
you know? So, I mean, and my family's not unique. We probably are behind other families when it comes to all these devices they have, but...
When you look at the statistics of the income level in Cokato, it's not as high as the state average. It's actually below. So you do have families that are struggling with, keeping up with technology. It's a little different ballgame out where we come from.
I think there is, and it's true in Wright County, but it's true throughout the region. And when you get even further north into Todd County, the ability to have broadband access in the community is even more limited than what we see down here. So that's where we're seeing a wide range of what we need to offer and why we've moved to developing local action plans for each community, because the differences in what each community needs to offer is going to have to change over the next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, each community would be unique in its own
right. So we're trying to move off of the idea of everyone is exactly the same, because we're finding more and more that that's changing.
And I know we have to move on, but I just wanted to make, the reason I brought it up, because I'm from Waverly, and a lot of times I want to go, if the library, the hours might not match up with me, but if they had a little locker thing at the gas station or something, I could go in there anytime I wanted and get it. That's kind of where I was
We were talking
going.
about that at the community meeting last year. Yeah.
Okay, so
lots
we'll let it go.
of reasons why library service is important.
We'll let it go. Thank you.
Thank each of you for coming today.
Yes, thank you so much for your time.
Okay, Steve Job, good morning, Steve.
Morning, Commissioner Swatsky, members of the board, thank you. I'm here just for an informational session, basically. I wanted to announce and get the word out that the new edition of the Wright County Plat Book is available now. We commissioned this book last fall. I think the GIS data was cut and sent to the consultant the 1st of November. So the plat book for the county should be accurate and up to date from the beginning of November. So this is kind of, the last time we did a book was in 2013, so this version of the 2016 book is, we were trying to reorder anyway, so we were able to get a new version of it for the same cost of printing the old one. So that's something fresh for the public. There are some flyers around. I just wanted to make sure people are aware. The plat books are on sale out at the Surveyor Department in the Public Works Building, and they also are available in the auditor's office upstairs on the 2nd floor. So anybody visiting this building can get a book as well.
Can they go online and make an order, or do they need to call the number, or you can go online with a credit card? We can't do that, can we?
We can't do that yet here.
No.
However, the one thing I do want to point out, Mapping Solutions, who publishes this book for us, this go-around, has the same stuff available. That's actually copyrighted by them, and so it's available on their website, but for about double the cost.
Okay.
So it's their way of recovering something, but for the most part, we sell quite a few plat books. I'm still surprised every year, hunting season, outdoor recreation, a lot of the larger farmers like to see kind of how things have shifted throughout the years, so.
So there is none available, the 2013 book then?
We took back, we had very limited, I think there was 13 that we didn't sell, so we have those back in. I have them in my office.
Are you selling those at a discount if somebody's interested, or?
You know, typically what we've done in the past, we just kind of ate that cost and we provide those if people need an old historical book.
Okay.
We had one, we had an inquiry for an old book and we were able to provide that. It's kind of out of date, but it's, you know, for a school-age kid that wants to look and see what this is all about, it's kind of nice.
Does the Historical Society have one? Because I know they like to have one of every plot book, so if they don't have one, you should get one to them.
They should. If not, I'll make sure they have one. We keep one in our record. Actually, we keep two in our records just in case one gets destroyed. And then the other thing I wanted to mention here is, once again, this company is providing us a very large wall map. It's quite large. They gave us one to display at our building, and the other one is for a raffle drawing, in a sense. So between now and March 11th, anybody, whether you buy a book or not, can stop by and sign up for a drawing, and you can win either that large wall map, which is kind of cool, or a smart app application for your phone or device. So it's called Smart Maps. I'm curious, the county got a free version of that too to try, so I'm going to have my GIS staff kind of take that out and see what that looks like on a mobile device and see about how it interacts out in the field, because you should be able to pinpoint your location where you are. And so I'm thinking if you're a hunter or fisherman or something like that, you're not quite sure where you are in relation to where you're on the plat book, maybe this application would help you identify that. So that's kind of cool. It's something new, and you know, you never think of those things, but these companies come up with that, and we benefit from it. So.
For Commissioner Lydon, some information, it was a District 5 person that won the map resident last year too, so.
You know what, and we will, once again, when that drawing happens, I'd like to come back to the board and make that announcement, and she was really nice, came in, and you know, the thing is, if, you know, it is quite large, so if you have a place to display it, it's really nice. If you don't, my suggestion was to donate it to the Historical Society once they are done with it for their use, because I know they like, it's just a piece of history, so.
Steve, I might have missed it, but how much are the plat books for 16?
Good question. The books are $30. It's the same price as before. Okay. And then if we mail them out, it's $6 additional shipping and handling, so. And Ed, I do have a press release I can leave with you or get it to you if you care to. I know you have the board packet as well, but just trying to get the word out there. The other thing I want to, go ahead.
And if anybody wants, I presume they can bring their book in, and Charlie would be happy to sign his estate there down in...
Should we just highlight everything, Charlie?
As long as they pay the property tax. Well, I'm just curious, how much is that smart app? Because I'm thinking maybe I should donate that for Charlie, because a lot of us tell him where to go, and this may help him to find his way back.
Well, at least we'll know where he is. No. No. You know, that's a good question. I don't know what that application costs. We do not sell it here, so that was something they didn't buy directly from them, but that is very interesting to me as you kind of turn over the generation of who's out there in the field doing the hunting. I thought there was one other thing, but I guess I can't remember at this time. Oh, yes. The other thing I wanted to mention is this company, Mapping Solutions, they mail out postcards to the larger landowners in the county. So just to advertise and make it aware that it's available. Because for some reason, those large farmers, Charlie, really like to know how much they have in compared to their neighbors. No, I'm just kidding. So.
Well, there's probably something to that.
Being a farmer myself for a time, I know. Any other questions? I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
They're available, and let me know. Stop by and sign up. I think it's kind of a nice thing that this company is providing this opportunity to have a drawing and get the word out. So,
thanks, Steve.
Thank you.
Bob Hebeler. Good morning again, Bob.
Good morning, Board. The first item on the agenda is a request for you to ratify the MNCCC contract. IFS, our accounting program that's used by 78 of the Minnesota counties, was rewritten and branded as IFS PI, Platform Independent. We realize now that that is a much larger product, and we've signed on behalf of JIC, which is the Joint IFS Committee, we've asked MCCC to contract with Tryman for support of this product. So that support contract is what we're asking you to ratify. During the budget process, I did increase our cost for the support of IFS. We do have the contract language between MNCCC and Tryman. We're getting more support and modifications of the accounting program. So board before you would be the contract, the support for the contract between Tryman and MCCC on our behalf.
Do our technology committee members have comment? Mark?
No, it wasn't brought to them at all. I'll make a motion to ratify the MCCC contract for IFS.
Motion by Delight, second by Burrell. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimous. Item 2.
Item 2 would be, board, if you remember the audit entrance meeting, we've been operating with an old capital asset program that we used to draft our financial statements from. Last year, that system was just dead in the water, so we actually had a vendor that was giving out demos, and I invited them to come out here to Wright County to put on a demo of real asset management. This is a product that could be used by other departments. Not sure that we would be using it by any other department, but it'll be here. This is a program I think we need to perfect our ability to capitalize our assets and report them for our financial statements. It is they did sign a MNCCC contract, so we're getting the most favored rate that's out there. It is a little over $5,000 for the first year. It's $2,500 to acquire it. There's $400 annual maintenance on it. And then there's just that conversion, but they actually lessened the conversion because they demoed it with us.
Mr. Chair, is this something that the risk manager would also be able to utilize? I mean, the risk manager, I know, is keeping track of certain things too, as part of insurance.
Right.
I mean, is this
Tim
something
could
that-
answer. Tim was there at the demo. A lot of the things that we do capitalize are insurable. So for risk management, I think you rely on our capital asset program. And our current capital asset program was not adequate, really. This would be adequate to, I believe, support the risk manager in assessment of our assets.
Okay, Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Our IT people, have they had a chance to review this and are okay with everything and is able to not cause a problem with our existing systems?
I did not attend the demo. Sherry did.
I did, and it actually was quite a while ago, so I do apologize. I don't remember the details.
Commissioners, if I can add, IT was invited to the demo. The idea was that maybe they could use this, but they do have Track-It, which I believe you do all of your tracking of the PC and peripheral equipment tracking. Commissioner DeLine, is your question whether the operating system which this would run on, would it conflict with our systems? Is that what your question is?
You want to make sure that everything has gone through IT to make sure that it's not going to be an issue as far as implementation and everything else.
Again, I apologize. Specifically, as we looked at it for the inventory of the IT equipment, we, as Bob referenced, it did not meet our needs. The basic needs of the real assets that they're currently tracking in the current system, as I understand it, transitioning what we have in there over to this new system certainly seems to be in target. And would be applicable.
And their tracking system, the auditor's office wouldn't be able to utilize that sort of thing?
There was no depreciation, there's no financial focus on the tracking system. The tracking system really focuses on what's on the computer and its location and maintenance history.
Hey, Commissioners, a sister product to real asset management is inventory management. That would be a counterpart to what we have for Track It. So,
I'll make a motion to approve the purchase of the real asset management program.
Motion by Commissioner Delight, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Commissioner Potter. Any further discussion?
Commissioners, I do have one thing to ask there. The funding source of this, I do not have this in my budget. Either we could use the capital projects fund. That'd be my recommendation, is the capital projects fund.
Well, it says we're changing out the capital asset system. What was the old system and what are we gaining by not using that system? What are we saving? What is the difference?
What I found out is we got what we paid for. We weren't paying for maintenance on this old capital asset system that we had. I'm sorry, Commissioner Swatsky, I'm not sure if that answered your question, but.
Okay, so the answer is we're paying nothing for the one we have now, but it's just not adequate.
Right, it's defunct right now.
I mean, a lot of times we replace something and the old one had a cost too, so it's like we're spending X number of dollars, but 80% of that we were spending on the old one that's no longer satisfactory.
Gotcha. I was hoping to say, hey, we're paying $500 maintenance and now it's only be $400, but.
Yeah, well, that's what I was hoping you were going to say too.
Right. We weren't paying anything for maintenance.
Mr. Chair and Bob, I'm just wondering if in the future, if this isn't something that maybe you should bring to the IT committee, so at least a couple of the commissioners might have a little better understanding when it comes to the board. Some of this stuff that, especially on the technology, I mean, it flies above us, and I mean, not that I distrust you or anything, but I just think it would be nicer.
You're very welcome to refer this to the technology committee. If you're not comfortable, just refer to the technology committee. We'll go through the process.
We're comfortable with you anyway, but I just think in the future, it would be nice that maybe at least, or let us know, is it something we'd want to bring, maybe mention it to Mark or I, is it something you'd want us to bring to the technology?
Well, Commissioner, not to put Adam on the table, would you feel better if we ran this through the technology committee?
No, this has been vetted quite a bit by other counties through MCCC. I'm fairly comfortable with it. You know, I've heard about it. I don't know. I don't have the exact details. I have to answer it. That's the way
What do you think?
I don't want to run this through board. I believe it's the right product for us.
Yeah, I guess I'd defer to the two committee members if they feel like we can vote on it there, if they would like to go to their committee.
No,
You're okay?
yeah, we're okay. I mean, it's through MCCC, so
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with it.
Well, I remember a certain product we used up in the assessor's office that was through MCCC, and how many tens of thousands of dollars did we lose on that deal, Bob?
Several.
Several tens of thousands?
Commissioners, I do want to reiterate, MNCCC, which is now MNCCC, they contract with our vendors on our behalf. They don't have products themselves, so it's a joint powers in which our user groups negotiate contracts for our products. So MNCCC doesn't have a CAMA program. They don't have our tax program. On behalf of the tax user group, we're negotiating a Xerox tax program and a Xerox CAMA. So when they
My comment doesn't mean to suggest this isn't a good product. All I'm saying is I remember one time when there was a serious financial mistake made by that group in retrospect.
Right.
It was before my time.
We got our watchdog.
And board, there I'm just saying it isn't MCCC, it's a user group.
Yep.
MCCC doesn't make decisions on their own.
I think the funding should probably come out of the IT capital.
Well, I guess, but the ongoing cost wouldn't come out of there, just.
No, I would budget that
that'd
as
be
part of my
budget.
professional.
And what did you say was the upfront cost?
It's $2,500, and I think it's $2,500 conversion and setup and training. So I think it's $5,000 total. And then the $400 annual maintenance, I'll put that under my budget.
We haven't got a motion yet, have we?
Yeah.
We did have a motion.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimous.
Board, I promise this third item is not controversial. I just want to draw your attention to the fact that we have put 290 parcels either into municipal hands or back on the tax rolls. The Tax Forfeit Committee has really done an excellent job getting our list down there. So I appreciate you delegating some of that down to us so we could expedite this, but I also appreciate the due diligence that you've taken to get these things cleaned up. So 290 parcels have been put back on the tax roll or given to municipalities.
Mr. Chair, quick question?
Yes.
I'm trying to make it controversial, so we'll keep it
Oh,
a
okay.
little longer. No. I know you were talking about maybe working with a couple of different real estate agents for some of those properties. How's that going, or is that still a viable option for the future here, or?
Commissioners, it is a viable opportunity that we have out there. As part of AMCO, which is the Metropolitan Group, I am getting more information on how they are utilizing realtors, how they are advertising in papers, and how they're marketing the properties, whether they're having open houses. We don't have a lot of forfeited properties that have structures that are move-in ready, but we are getting information on how do you make that determination. Should we rehab it? Should we tear it down? How do you market it? Commissioner Potter does have a suggestion that we put like buildable lot signs, and I think that's something that we will go after.
Yeah, you know, I think a simple $10 sign that said, this property for sale, this tax forfeiture property for sale, call Wright County 763-682, whatever the number is, would generate a lot of interest just in itself. You know, I don't think we need to cut someone in at 7% when we could,
No,
because I think most of these properties, you know, maybe adjacent property owners know, but nobody else knows they're for sale.
Right.
True. Right.
No, and I agree.
And that wouldn't cost us but, you know, literally
$10 sign.
you know, a couple $100 in signs, and we can try them on, you know, 20 of the spots that we think would be most likely to have interest, and,
Well, obviously, it's more than what we're doing now.
you know, and after a few months of them being there, you can always pick those signs up and move them to some different locations then too.
I mean, currently our no trespassing signs are advertisement for dumping, so maybe we should attempt to put out a different sign, but we do have the state-owned, you know, no trespassing signs on our forfeited property. Probably not the best advertisement to entice buyers, but
They're about this size.
yeah.
They're not much bigger than that.
But yeah, we do have some properties I think are very attractable, so if we could somehow, like Commissioner Potter says, not forfeited property, these are buildable lots.
Right.
So,
Bob, would you need a motion to do it? Because I like the idea with the sign. Would you need a motion for that? Would you want one, or?
well, I think, yeah, you guys have delegated it down to us, and I think it'd
We've
be
already
our
gone
responsibility
past
to
that.
apprise you of
But
what we're doing.
I think that's something that's worth looking into. I think, see what happens, you know? Do 50 or 100 signs and, you know, you could, because if you, there's breaks, I know when you order signs like that, at certain quantity, if you order 10 or order 50, it's probably about the same.
I don't even know what we got here for equipment. They might be able to have, they might have something out at the surveyor's office that can
Make something.
that can print something.
Or the highway office.
Yeah, highway.
Okay, well, you got the green light anyway on it.
Right. And Board, not to belabor it, but one of the things I am looking at is, you know, could we go out there and do some maintenance on these platted properties? You know, these are buildable lots, but they haven't been taken care of in an awful long time. If we were to go out there and mow them down and then put up these signs, that's something I'm looking at for the spring.
Maybe we could, we have not met for a while, so maybe that's something we could bring up at a tax forfeiture committee meeting too. Even though, I mean, we delegated a lot of stuff to Bob, we probably should meet every now and then to kind of
Yeah, absolutely.
things too. Okay,
Thank you, Board.
thank you, Bob.
Okay, thanks, Bob. Mike Young, Wright County Ditch Inspector. Good morning, Mike. That's a good spot right there, maybe.
You want to just log in or do you want me to log you out? It's probably faster for you. Let me have not logged into this one. No viruses, right?
Good morning, Commissioner and Board. While I try and make this thing scroll, which for some reason it's not doing.
Did a little bit there.
I'm just tapping.
Okay. Yep, we're good. I'm here specifically today on ditch 31. And this is kind of an overview of that ditch itself, if you can see it there. And I'm just gonna, I think it's gonna be easier to stand by the board. Is that gonna be close enough to the microphone?
I don't know, can anyone tell if it's getting picked up if he's standing over to the
Should
side?
pick it up. Just note that anything you point on the screen won't go to the viewers at home, so.
Okay.
What do you mean by that? Aren't the viewers looking at the screen right now?
Direct feed into the computer. So
Oh, okay, I
whatever's-
gotcha.
So if
Okay.
you would use the mouse, it would, but if you're.
Okay, yeah, you have to use the mouse, there you go.
Commissioners? I'll gladly use it.
No, Bob was just.
That was Bob doing right.
Yeah, we're not laughing at you.
We're not laughing
Okay,
at
Bob.
you, we're laughing with you.
Yeah, you can use the pointer on the computer.
Okay. This is ditch 31 here, and it begins in this basin right here, which is in Woodland Township, and runs all the way over to here. It has two branches on it. It's a fairly big system in a almost exclusively